Well, welcome to NuvoTalks, your roadmap to Salesforce success. Today, I'm here with Marc Anthony and myself, Andrea, and we are very excited to talk to you about Salesforce and our company. We will use this podcast to uncover real-life situations with Salesforce and share our insights on how to implement it.
Welcome to NuvoTalks, the podcast to power up your business with Salesforce. Hi, Andy. Thank you for having me on the show. And looking forward to talking to our audience about Salesforce and everything that we do at Nuvolar.
We have been knowing each other for 9 years now, right? Working with Salesforce for 9 years. Can you tell me your journey with Nuvolar?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember the first day that you joined. So I've actually been at the company over 13 years. And Nuvolar started as a software development company developing web applications and mobile applications for third parties. And one of those applications when I joined was a aviation product on the Salesforce platform. And so that's over 13, 14 years ago that we've been developing software with and on the Salesforce platform.
And when it comes to Salesforce, what else do we do? Do we work with other? Or can you explain me the different industries that we've been working with?
Yeah, perfect. So maybe I can explain a little bit Nuvolar and where we are today. So today, Nuvolar we're 130 employees, more or less, as of course you know.
I remember when I started, there were only 30 people, more or less.
Yeah.
So we have grown a lot. Yeah,
we've grown a lot over the years, and I think I was employee number 10 when I started, and today we have 3 different divisions. So we have kind of the first division, which was the software development company for third parties. The second division that we created was Nuvolar Software, which is for our aviation product. So Nuvolar Software is a product company where we develop a product for aviation on the Salesforce platform. And the third division, which is the one that we both work in and which we both lead, Nuvolar Consulting, where we implement Salesforce and we help companies in different industries, and we'll get to all the different industries, basically digitally transform their business with the help of Salesforce. And let's say, industries are quite varied. We work today in consumer goods. We work in health. We work in transport, travel, aviation. Also, really interesting industries like the funeral business and medical devices and life science as well.
There's so many different consultancies in Barcelona or in Spain. What do you think we do differently, or what do you think we do actually better than other consultancies?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. So, I think, I hear really good things about other consulting companies as well, right? So I know we're not the only ones, but when I think about Nuvolar and what we do good, and I don't know if we are better than all the rest, but in terms of what I think we do good, first and foremost is company culture. So we have a really great company culture at the company, and this is something that can be seen. I mean, our employees are aware of it. They know about it. Our clients, once they start working with us, they see it, and we also hear it from our partners sometimes that kind of tell us if they would work for a consulting company, that sometimes they would love to come work for Nuvolar. So I think we have a very great company culture, and that has allowed us to attract some of the best talent in the industry, and we also maintain that talent based on some of the benefits that we offer our employees. So I think that's kind of helped us really deliver, I think, a great and continuous service to our clients over the years.
And we have various roles in Salesforce as well. When it comes to Salesforce, in Nuvolar, could you explain me all these roles, or what do they do, and the industries they've been working with?
Yeah, in terms of different roles, Salesforce roles that we have within the company. So of course, they're maybe starting from the CEO kind of sales role. We have ops manager role. This is a little bit more for kind of structure. Going a little bit more into the Salesforce side of things, we have architects that of course know all the different Salesforce modules. We have Salesforce developers that work with Apex, Lightning Web Components. We have consultants, MuleSoft as well, and different integrations. Then we have consultants, right, that can specialize in different modules. So those are typically the roles, and one of the roles as well as we're growing and working with bigger clients that we're seeing is also a Salesforce release manager role, which is kind of a new one that we're starting to staff. In terms of industries, I would say, all of those roles, apply across the different industries, but it also depends. We staff projects always based on what our clients' needs are at the end of the day.
What was your favorite industry that you work with? Or what is the funniest or the coolest one that you can think of, or any implementation that we have done that you kind of like, oh, this was interesting, this was different?
Yeah, so I would say in my career I think I have over 17 years of experience working in the aviation industry. So in the last year and a half, where I've been involved with the Salesforce consulting side of things, I've seen a whole number of industries. I think the most unique one and an interesting one, at least for me, was the funeral business, and that was really interesting, right? Where I went with the client and visited columbariums, and we went to one of the kind of cathedrals, and I saw their product, and we discussed their service, and so that's been kind of the most interesting one that I've seen, at least in the last 1 to 2 years.
Okay, very cool. And working as a CEO, what can you tell us about Salesforce? How did it change your life? You are working with Salesforce, right, as well yourself?
That's right. So, Salesforce changed my life in the sense that I kind of started working with it over 13 years ago, and when I discovered Salesforce, I was absolutely amazed with all the features and everything that you can do with it, and I remember thinking like, wow, I can't believe I did it. I wasn't aware of Salesforce before, right? I've made kind of a career from it, and like you said, we are users of Salesforce, so we implement Salesforce and its different modules for many clients, but we also implement it for ourselves, which number one, transformed how we do things, particularly on the sales side, and currently we're kind of in the middle of a marketing cloud account engagement implementation, and so we're starting to transform some of our marketing processes. Implementing it for ourselves has also helped us upskill, train our staff, understand the platform better, and even for myself from the sales perspective and selling to other clients, right? So it's been really powerful, and I'm a huge fan of using Salesforce the right way, improving on it, and kind of using some of the newer features that are released as well.
Indeed, I have been using it for 9 years, and I remember the first time I saw it, and I remember where we are right now, and it changed so much. And looking back, all the features that we had some of them or most of them don't even exist, and there are new ones, and they keep changing, and we have to be in top of this. How do you think we are doing it, or what is your opinion in Nuvolar? Are we on top of these new tendencies, trends that Salesforce is pushing?
Yeah, I think we try to be.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, I mean, if we just look at Sales Cloud, and if I kind of look at when we're working on selling Sales Cloud, right? Whether we're doing it on ourselves, on our own, or we're doing it with Salesforce. When we talk about the core of Sales Cloud, it's usually opportunities, it's lead management, right? Potentially orders, generating contracts. But one of the things that we implemented, and I'm a huge fan of, is the whole forecasting features, right?
Can you explain me a little bit about that? Because I'm still a little bit confused. I see it, how you do it, but if you can go into a bit more details and tell me, how do you use forecasting with Salesforce?
Yeah. So it's a really, really cool feature. I would say it's probably my favorite so far. So as a CEO, it helps me, or even if I was just a sales manager, it helps me to see, right, how much business have I generated this quarter, and what does my revenue look like for this quarter and the following quarters, right? And so all the data is there, and if you want it more granular by month, you can set it up that way as well. So it essentially boils down to, on every opportunity, kind of making sure you have all of your opportunity products specified, along with pricing, and if you have a specific revenue schedule, right? So if you're talking about a subscription service where you have a certain amount of revenue coming every month, or even for us, you have an implementation going and you're expecting the revenue to come in at different intervals, you can basically set that up so that you can see when you're looking at the forecasting views when that revenue will be coming in. So for us, just in terms of reporting, understand how the business is doing, doing projections, it's been incredibly powerful. So that's an example of what I think is kind of using, in some cases, Salesforce Sales Cloud at least to its full potential, but I would say in the last couple of years, Salesforce have also been really pushing all of the AI features, right, that they've developed. So I was lucky to go to Dreamforce this year. It was probably one of the best Dreamforces ever. I mean, it was my second, but just from all the feedback that I've heard.
Okay.
And so Salesforce are really now pushing Agentforce, right? And so this is now generally available since October. Salesforce are kind of pushing very, very much so, all partners to firstly get certified, and B, to start proposing and helping them kind of sell Agentforce in the market. And so we don't have it implemented yet, but let's say that's one of our, at least on our internal roadmap, on features to use, whether it's Agentforce or some of the other AI features that Salesforce have. It's definitely, let's say, in the plan and in the works.
Okay. And as a CEO of Nuvolar, how important certifications are for you? How many certifications do you have? And are you working on a new certification?
Always. Yeah. So I have three certifications.
Okay.
So I'm an admin. I'm an app builder and a sales cloud consultant. So at least for me, having certified myself, I think has been really rewarding, and it helps me as well kind of keep up to date, right? So every time there's a new release, we have to do our maintenance on Trailhead, right? So I'm always up to date, and that's I think for myself been crucial to understand as well how the platform is evolving. I'm currently working on an AI specialist certification, so that's my next one, and beyond that, I definitely want to go for the account engagement, the marketing cloud account engagement specialist as well. So that's a little bit my plan. And in terms of importance, I think as a business, we know that first of all, we are scored as a partner based on how many certifications that we have. It's important to Salesforce as our partner as well, that we are certified in their different modules, so that if they do recommend us as a partner, they know we have the knowledge. And of course, it's I think as well important for us as a business to ensure our staff is certified, that that they understand, they have the knowledge as well, and they have the confidence that if they go to a client, they have the necessary knowledge to do a great implementation. And that I think is also key, that clients expect as well. If they're going to pay for a service, and they're going to pay us to for the consulting work, they expect us to have the knowledge, right? And the certification helps prove that, right? So definitely, I think certifications are very important.
Good. In terms of going back a little bit to forecasting, how can a sales team, in your opinion, of course, use Salesforce to improve their forecasting accuracy?
Well, I think so. Kind of following a little bit what I was saying before, on every opportunity, making sure the numbers are updated, right? So if you send out a quote or proposal, and to make sure your opportunity has kind of the right opportunity amount.
Are you using any automation for this, or you do it manually at the moment?
At the moment, that's kind of manual.
Okay.
Kind of as, let's say, the salesperson, right? You send out your quote, which of course that you can automate. I mean, on our side, it's not at the moment. But then, let's say from a process perspective, I have to ensure that the opportunity amount is correct, right? And typically, it also goes with the when I expect the revenue to come in, if that deal will close, right? And ensuring that data is accurate will help ensure that the forecasting is kind of showing the right numbers, right? Part of that as well is at Nuvolar, and I'm sure many other companies, we work with objectives and key results, right? So I kind of have my sales objectives for the quarter. So I have a specific quota that I'm expected to meet. Even as a CEO, right? I need to. I'm expected to generate so much growth in the business, right? And I need to report that to the owners or the owner. And so making sure the quota is also set, so I can see what the results are against the quota. So that's again, like probably one of my favorite features. And so for myself, following the process is really important. Today we're relatively small. We're kind of we're still a boutique consulting firm at Nuvolar. With we're a team of 130 overall in the group, but within our consulting division, we're approximately 30 people. But as we grow, and I have kind of salespeople under me, it's really important that they kind of follow the process, right? And ensuring that the process is followed, the numbers are accurate and entered correctly, will help me as a supervisor, or again, CEO overlooking the whole business, to see how each salesperson is performing and how the business is growing as well.
Okay. Going back to sales journeys, what strategies are you using?
Sales journeys, as in like
to streamline your sales journeys. What strategies are you using, or when using Salesforce actually?
Focusing on the Sales Cloud side of things. I would say for kind of very typical Sales Cloud implementation. We follow kind of the typical lead journey, right? So creating leads, nurturing them, and then afterwards, if there's genuine interest and potential for that lead to want to implement Salesforce, in the next 3 to 6 months, the next step, we convert the lead to an opportunity, right? Whereby in in that journey, right, or in that use case, we've set up very specific, I would say simplified and specific sales process with different stages for the opportunity, and within those stages, and kind of talking about all this Salesforce talk, right? We have a proper sales path specified with what's expected at each stage in order to make it to the next stage, right? So we've done all that groundwork internally, right? And again, kind of setting a little bit the foundations, not only for myself, even though I'm kind of the solo salesperson, but setting it up so that when we do grow, everyone kind of could fall into that process and that journey.
Perfect. How did you do it before? Just going back in time, because I'm always thinking like, again, 9 years with Salesforce, so many things changed. And still when we're working together, we know that companies enter, we do the implementation, they come using Excel or they come using nothing. And how did Salesforce change your life, basically? What did you use before?
Yeah. So I mean, I think it really depends on how big of a business you have, your maturity, what your sales volume looks like.
Can you use Salesforce if you're only 2 people or if you're 10 people? Would you recommend small businesses using Salesforce, Sales Cloud?
Sure. I think you can. I mean, definitely. When you're small, or maybe you're a startup and you're bootstrapping, right? And you don't necessarily have that much money to spend, right? I mean, I think the tendency is to just manage with Excel, right? But again, I think if your sales volumes are big enough, right, and you're dealing with a lot of leads and you're dealing with a lot of opportunities, I think very quickly, people in the organization, even if you're 1 or 2, you quickly realize you need something to kind of help manage everything that's going on, right? And that's when a CRM in general, I think, becomes important. And Salesforce. The nice thing, and one of the things that we kind of discovered over the last one to 2 years is they also have what they call a starter kit, right, or the starter suite. Sorry if I get the name wrong, but they're
changing names all the time. So I think it's absolutely fine.
They keep on changing names. No, same thing happened with the Salesforce app. No, it was the. I don't know if it was initially the Salesforce One app, and now it's the Salesforce app, and now the platform is the Einstein One platform.
Yeah.
So they
all the time, all the
time changing names. But I think the Salesforce, let's say suite or starter suite, which was specifically made for small companies, is quite let's say inexpensive, right? So it is economical, and for small businesses or even startups, it kind of provides a really good all-round set of features, right? Both on the sales side, on the service side as well, if you have to deal with cases and customer support, and there's also kind of a marketing piece, right? So we when we were much smaller, we didn't go for that type of tool. I think maybe as well we were not necessarily kind of spending the money on CRMs at the time. So we managed by with use of Excel. But I think as we grew and kind of volume increased, we said no, we definitely need to implement something here. And with all the Salesforce expertise that we had, it was a no-brainer for us. We knew it's the best tool in the market. It's the number one CRM. It's the most flexible, and we said we're definitely going to use it, and this is going to help us as well, help our clients further down the road.
Okay. Can you share a success story where us as Nuvolar helped another company with the Salesforce implementation where we transformed their business, basically?
Yeah.
Can you think of anything, or small or large company? Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, there's a few.
Okay.
And I hope to answer this question again in like 6 to 12 months, because I think we're in the middle of some really, I think, interesting projects and implementations, and so I'm really excited for some of those. But probably one that comes to mind, and I would say it's a medium to large business in the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
Is this company talking about using Excel, I think that's what they were using before kind of implementing Salesforce as well to kind of transform their sales operations. This is a company where we not only implemented Salesforce, but we also kind of developed within Salesforce a custom screen so that they can send their sales reps on site and via tablet or even phone through Salesforce, kind of generate like a portfolio of products with all their discounts, helping their sales reps kind of sell on the spot. And so we did the implementation and this kind of specialized custom work for them, and it was a huge success, right? So we actually built a little case study with them, and the numbers I think speak for themselves. So they reported back to us that their sales increased something like 300%.
Wow, that's a huge number, right? Yeah,
it's a huge number, just from transforming their business, right, with technology and leveraging that technology to sell more and to sell smarter, right? Okay. And there's more numbers there. I think as well. Direct sales, right, increased like 600%. So they have some automated kind of sales with some of their larger distributors, but those numbers I think were quite impressive, just generally. So we know they have got the return on investment, and they've been incredibly happy with the implementation, and that for us was just great to hear.
Perfect. So what advice would you give to a company leader who is hesitant changing from Excel or another CRM perhaps to Salesforce?
Yeah, so we kind of see both, right? Particularly with smaller businesses and sometimes medium businesses, and that is surprising when we do see it. So companies might be using Excel. Or like you said, maybe if they're medium or if they're large, maybe they're using a different CRM, and they're starting to hit certain limits with a CRM that's not Salesforce, right? Maybe some of the other players, more economical solutions on the market, and so I think from a sales perspective, if I do encounter a leader that is hesitant, I think. Firstly, we're not there to kind of push them or to make the change. So I think they absolutely need to be decided that they want to change and they want to implement the number one CRM in the industry. And so some of those conversations that we would have is, okay, well, what is driving at first, what is driving the interest in potentially moving to Salesforce? What are your pain points? If you're using Excel, if you're using another CRM, what do you find limiting and painful, and why even why is Salesforce even in your mind, right? And I think understanding that, talking to the leader or the leaders in the industry is the first thing, right? And then the second thing is a little bit talking about what their vision for their business is. How much do they want to grow? What do they want to introduce a lot of automation? Are they tech savvy? Are they ready? Are they ready for it? What do they want to do from not only from a sales perspective if they want to implement Sales Cloud, but from a customer support perspective or marketing? What do they have in mind, right? And often once you get all of that information, I think, and of course, if they have big plans for their business, which many leaders do, right? They want to grow, and they want to they want to increase revenue. Maybe they want to open new divisions in different countries or whatnot. Then you can start talking about what technology can bring them there, right? And this is where we start talking about Salesforce as not only the number one CRM, but as a platform that allows you to get that 360-degree view of your clients and all of your business, right? And that they will not be limited by that technology, right? So it will always boil down as well to what is the economic factor, right? And do they have the budget, to implement the Salesforce platform? But if you will, I think those are the kind of the elements, when talking to leaders, and that are hesitant, about moving to Salesforce.
Okay. Apart from talking to leaders, who else is involved in this process? Who is the one in Nuvolar who is helping you with this process actually, and who are the other people in the other company that you have to talk to? How does the whole sales process or lead nurturing looks like?
Right. So it depends. I mean, I would say every opportunity, every lead, is a little bit different. And it depends on where that opportunity comes from.
Okay.
Right. So at times and if we're just kind of focused on maybe a company that doesn't have Salesforce implemented, right? Because if a company does have Salesforce implemented, it's a little bit of a different discussion. They've already been sold on why Salesforce is the right fit for them, and then maybe they're looking for a different partner. Maybe they're just looking on making better use of the system, and it's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But kind of focusing on companies that don't have Salesforce, maybe they have another CRM, they're using Excel or sometimes even a home-built CRM that now it has tons of limits. I would say, at first, the leads can be coming in from maybe social media. They could be coming from the website, and all the kind of inbound marketing work that's being done. Sometimes, and what we're implementing right now is a little bit more outbound marketing, right? And we're kind of generating email campaigns with Marketing Cloud Account Engagement, Pardot. And sometimes we'll also have leads or opportunities that come in directly from Salesforce, right? Where Salesforce kind of recommend us, right? And those types of opportunities are typically led by Salesforce, and we're there kind of supporting them. But if the opportunity is one where we're leading them, right? So we'll first have those initial discussions, right? About what are their pain points. One of the methodologies I like to use is called SPIN, right? So you try and get all the you try and understand the situation, try and understand their problems, and you try and understand as well the impact those problems have, and and then you look a little bit at the need payoff, right? So maybe you implement Salesforce and it costs you so much, but it pays off, right? And in terms of return on investment, or maybe less money wasted, right? Because you're working more efficiently and whatnot. So kind of talking about the leads come in from different places. I would probably have those initial discussions, and if it's with Salesforce, I have those initial discussions with Salesforce, and then we typically will involve on our side, we'll typically involve our architect or one of our architects, or in some cases even a senior consultant, right, who tries to kind of works with me on the sales side to understand kind of their technical requirements, and that typically will lead to the work preparing a demo and delivering the demo, where on the client side as well, we try and invite decision makers, and department heads, right, who are involved in the decision making at the end.
Is it a big to create or to do a demo? How much work does it involve? It does involve a lot, no? I mean, from my experience as well, when I used to work as a consultant, did it change a lot, or do you use automations or anything?
Right. So it depends. It depends how much of a footprint the prospect wants of Salesforce, right? So if they want a relatively simple, basic initial implementation of Sales Cloud, probably that demo preparation might take a few days, and at times, they'll want Sales Cloud and they'll want Service Cloud with Service Voice and maybe some Einstein features, right? Like to help their support agents work more efficiently, right? Like, we'll have Einstein work summaries and next best actions, right? And automated responses, right? And if all that needs to be prepared in a demo, and many times Marketing Cloud account engagement is also kind of thrown in there because that's kind of the how can I say it? It's kind of the winning package, right? Sales, service plus Pardot, and that can take 1.5 weeks minimum to prepare. And in terms of automation, I mean, one of the initiatives that we've been doing this year as well is kind of preparing a demo org, right? With all of those modules and all of those kind of cool features, and kind of have it ready, but just tweak it depending on the client and their industry, right? In order to be more efficient, to prepare and then deliver the demo. With that said, like sometimes we have very specific clouds, right? Whether it's
specific needs or integrations,
right. So in integrations, we won't really bother when it comes to the demo. I mean, we'll talk about them. But I mean, if we have to prepare a consumer goods cloud demo or health cloud, then we need a very kind of, I think, specific org that we need to request, and many times we have to start the demo preparation from scratch, right? So that we know is going to be 1 to 2 weeks of preparation, and there's no kind of foundation work that we could have done prior in order to prepare the demo in a much quicker fashion.
And what happens if someone who already uses Salesforce comes to you and tells you, I'm not sure if I'm using it the right way, I'm not sure if I'm getting the most out of it? How would you deal with that client? What would be the first thing that Nuvolar would do for this client in order to help them or to understand their needs?
Yeah. When that discussion happens, typically, and of course, clients or prospects might kind of shop around, right? And they might look at different partners, but our typical response there is, one of the first things that we need to do is we need to understand what's implemented.
Correct.
And for that we typically do a health check.
What does that involve? Health check. What do we do? Or who is doing the health check?
I thought you were the health check expert.
I do actually know I'm trying to test you here. So
you're trying to test
I wrote an article about it, but I'm going to test you.
Compliment if I'm missing anything, but I think it typically involves, let's say, a consultant and potentially a developer. If there are integrations or some custom developments that have been done, or maybe some complex flows, then we might need a developer to kind of start going in and looking at these things in detail, right? I think it also involves understanding the pain points, right? And maybe having that a little bit more of an in-depth talk with the client, like, hey, what's not working? What could be better? And maybe once you have that discussion, you know maybe where to look, what to look into, and where you need to spend a little bit more time, right?
So it's a teamwork, basically. It's a teamwork between you and the team as well. Yeah,
exactly. Right. So I mean, on my side, from a sales perspective, I mean, I might sell the health check, right? But I don't kind of get involved, if you will, in the details.
Have you done it ever?
I have done on occasions many years ago.
Okay,
maybe not to the sophistication that we have it now. But let's say that just from the sales cycle, I sell like, hey, we will first off have a discussion with you, do that health check, and then with whatever comes out, we'll recommend, right? We'll generate a report, and we'll recommend what we think needs to be improved, what needs to be fixed, what you should be using that maybe you're not, and then again work together with the client, prioritize that type of work. Sometimes it's actually the client wants help with change management and training of their staff and making sure that the user adoption is there. But still, before we get to that point, is all of this kind of prior work of understanding what they have, understanding what's not working, improving that, and then doing all that change management, user adoption work. And so we typically, I mean, that's the initial sell. Right, and it happens quite often. So we've seen it happen quite often, at least in Spain.
Yeah.
And that, I would say, once that initial work is done and the basics are working well for that client, that's when they start getting interested about in some of the other features and modules maybe that they don't have yet, or maybe AI.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's where kind of some of those really cool, interesting implementations start coming.
Good. Well, my sort of last question would be Dreamforce, because you mentioned that you have been to Dreamforce. So I'm actually wondering, going as a Salesforce or as a CEO or as a sales manager, what benefits do you get? And would you recommend it to other people to go there, or should you watch it online, or what is that? What is Dreamforce? What's happening there, basically, when it comes to sales? Like, just focusing on the line of the business that you do.
So first of all, Dreamforce is, if I'm not mistaken, I think the biggest kind of technology conference in the world.
Yep.
Generally happens every year in San Francisco at the Moscone Center. And Salesforce love having it in San Francisco. They're they're headquartered there. And typically, that this is where Salesforce will showcase its products, all the partners in the ecosystem, whether an independent software vendor partner or consulting partner, all the big players are there, and we'll have a stand. There are many keynote presentations.
Okay.
Kind of talking about all the latest features, modules, tendencies in the industry. So it's really enriching. I definitely recommend it for CEOs of businesses, whether maybe if you're looking at implementing Salesforce, if you have Salesforce implemented, and want to know what's coming next, what you're missing out on, how you could be using the platform. And I would also say, for Salesforce partners, I think it's also really key.
Yeah.
Of course, at Dreamforce, this is kind of a lot of the allure of going to Dreamforce. There are tons of concerts. There's so many events. The networking is great, and I think specifically for us, I mean, there's not only all that Salesforce talk, but meeting up with our clients. All our major clients will be there, so it's just a great networking opportunity to meet them face to face. So I think I answered your question. No, I mean, about what Salesforce is, and as a CEO, I think, again, for me, all that networking and understanding, what the platform now has and what the future is going to bring, I think is just great information to have.
And what do you see? What will the future bring when it comes to Salesforce and AI? What is your opinion, just to understand this part? Because everyone and wherever you look at, there is AI coming from everywhere. So what is your opinion on AI? How safe it is? Are we ready to use it? Is Salesforce ready to use it as well?
No, absolutely. So, and maybe that's still, from me attending Dreamforce. I mean, I'm completely convinced Salesforce is ready.
Okay.
And the message Salesforce really try and make clear and for everyone is the trust. That everything when it comes to AI, the platform ensures that it's safe, right? That the data is safe. Sensitive data, personal data is masked, and particularly, Marc Benioff made it clear as well that within, making use of AI within Salesforce, because of all of the metadata and the structure of the data, also makes the AI much more capable and powerful. So I'm fully convinced, and I think what has been communicated is with now we're in the agents phase of AI. So this is like the third wave. First wave being predictive AI, second wave kind of being generative, and everything that we do with ChatGPT, and now this third wave being agents. And I mean, I'm so convinced this is where I want to bring our business to, right? Okay. So I want to start making use of Agentforce first off on the sales side. So using agents to help with the business development, sending out emails, intelligently, scheduling meetings, right, and then leading maybe afterwards to meetings with myself directly with interested leads, right, and kind of saving all of that lead nurturing work, which is a full-time job, right, and kind of starting to use Agentforce for this type of thing, and as well, again for Sales Cloud. Is with agents, you can have a sales coach kind of follow up with everything that's going on, right, and all the information that it has via emails or if you have telephony integrated, and actually help coach you through the process in order to ensure you have maybe higher conversion rates, right? So I'm super excited about that. I mean, I know we're still early days. We're November. It's been generally available in October. Salesforce are pushing it quite a lot, and if you're on the service side, and I think we're going to see this a lot, I think, on the implementation and some of the work we do with our clients. The agents answering the phone and solving the customer's problem is so powerful that I'm convinced this is it's going to start revolutionizing customer support. So I'm super excited about it, and I'm definitely aligned with Salesforce here.
So I see you in a couple of months, and we're going to be discussing how did it go when we implemented it, what are the outcomes, what do you see, what are the results basically of Agentforce and the AI, and how does Nuvolar prepare for this AI kind of
revolution.
Yes, we could say AI revolution. What does Nuvolar? What steps do you take to be prepared?
Right. So, I mean, Nuvolar as a group for
Nuvolar as a group using Salesforce, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, first off, as a group, this is where our CTO, I think reviews everything, analyzes it, makes recommendations, right? And because even if you do, and as I think most businesses and most people do, right, using even ChatGPT, there's recommendations, right?
And you have to be safe.
We have to be safe, right? So
exactly.
So it's understanding, how to make sure everything is safe. Now, on Salesforce, since everything goes through the trust layer, there's a lot of kind of security built in, right? And Salesforce have kind of assured that. But what are we doing to kind of prepare for the revolution, if you will, if you want to call it a revolution, or at least the third wave?
Yeah.
Right. Is firstly, we are certifying all of our staff.
Okay.
Right. Now we're doing this, for ourselves, right? Because we know it's going to be, there's going to be a lot of work down the road. We know there's a lot of clients asking about AI, right? So we're preparing ourselves. Salesforce are highly recommending that we do as well. And I would say for us, that's kind of step one. Or step 1 and 2, understanding what everything is, what the AI features are, and typically what we do with at least some of the core features that can apply to our business is start implementing it for ourselves internally. Yeah,
right. So very important. Yeah.
So we've done this for Sales Cloud. We're doing it for Marketing Cloud, and now we're
so we experience it firsthand, basically. Yeah.
We experience it firsthand, right? We develop, we upskill ourselves. We make use of the technology as well to kind of propel our business, right? And so kind of along those lines, I would say, my vision is, yes, we will implement eventually Data Cloud, and we will start making use of Agentforce and some of the other AI features, whether it's Copilot or some of the other features that they have in Einstein.
Okay, well, that's it. Thank you very much, Marc Anthony, for joining me today. And I think it was very exciting, everything that we learned today, and I understanding how the sales processes are working, how the sales processes are working in Nuvolar, and hopefully we give you some tips as well to how to implement Salesforce.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much for having me on the show. And I know this is the first Nuvolar podcast, so really, really excited about that, and very much looking forward to kind of seeing all the future podcasts and all the interviews that we will have. So yeah, thank you very much, Andy.
Indeed, stay tuned. Thank you.